There is a specific kind of exhaustion reserved for those who believe they must carry the world on their own shoulders. It is not just a physical tiredness, but a deep spiritual fatigue that comes from years of never truly exhaling. You have likely been praised your whole life for your strength. You are the reliable one, the one who fixes, the one who plans, the one who never needs to ask for help because you have already figured it out. But this strength is often a heavy coat worn over a trembling interior. True independence is a virtue, but when it becomes a rigid necessity, a wall you cannot lower even when you are. Suffocating ceases to be freedom and becomes a cage. You tell yourself you don't need anyone because needing someone has historically meant being let down. But in protecting yourself from disappointment, you may have inadvertently protected yourself from love. This is the story of that fortress and how you might finally begin to dismantle it. There is a specific kind of silence that surrounds the hyper-independent person. It is not the peaceful silence of rest. It is the crowded, buzzing silence of a mind that is constantly calculating, planning, and bracing for impact. To the outside world, you appear to be a monument of stability. You are the friend who answers the phone at 3 a.m. You are the partner who handles the logistics, the finances, and the emotional heavy lifting without a single complaint. You have cultivated a reputation for being low maintenance, for being the one who never needs anything. And for a long time, this reputation has served as a shield. It keeps people from looking too closely. If you are always the one giving help, no one ever thinks to ask if you need it. But this invulnerability is an illusion. It is a carefully curated performance that you have likely been acting out for so long, you have forgotten it is a role. Consider your reaction to a simple offer of assistance. Someone says, "Let me carry that for you," or "Do you want to talk about it?" Your immediate visceral reaction is likely a recoil, a tightening in the chest, swift, polite refusal. "No, I've got it. I'm fine." Why is that reaction so fast? Why does the idea of receiving help feel not like a relief, but like a threat? For the hyper-dependent person, relying on others feels dangerous. It feels like handing someone a loaded weapon and hoping they don't pull the trigger. You view relationships through a transactional lens. If you accept help, you accrue a debt. You feel an immediate, crushing pressure to repay it, to balance the scales, to ensure you owe nothing to anyone. Because in your internal logic, to owe someone is to be owned by them. To need someone is to be under their control. And so, you choose the path of most resistance. You carry the physical furniture alone, risking your back. You carry the emotional grief alone, risking your heart. You convince yourself that this struggle is a preference, a sign of your superior strength. But in the quiet moments, when the exhaustion settles in, the truth rises to the surface. You are not doing it alone because you want to. You are doing it alone because you have forgotten how to trust the hands of anyone else. No child is born with an aversion to comfort. If you observe an infant, their dependency is total, and it is shameless. They cry out with the absolute expectation that an adult will come, that they will be held, that they will be soothed. The shift from that natural, healthy dependency to a rigid, defensive independence is not a personality quirk. It is an adaptation. It is a survival strategy forged in the fires of a childhood when needs were either unmet, shamed, or dangerous. Perhaps you grew up in a home where the caregivers were physically present, but emotionally chaotic. Maybe a parent was volatile, struggling with their own demons, leaving no room for your emotions. In that environment, you learned a brutal lesson. There is no space for me to be small. To survive, you had to become big. You had to become the little adult, the parentified child who managed the household, soothed the volatile parent, and raised yourself. You learned that having needs was a burden on an already stressed system. So, you deleted your needs. Or perhaps your independence was born from neglect. You learned that if you were hungry, you had to find the food. If you were scared, you had to self-soothe. You looked at the adults around you and realized with a terrifying clarity that they were incapable of carrying you. In that moment of realization, a vow was made, a silent, subconscious promise to yourself. I will never be this helpless again. I will never put my survival in the hands of another person. This vow was necessary then. It saved you. It allowed you to navigate a world that felt unsafe. But the tragedy of the independent defender is that the war ended years ago. Yet, you are still wearing the armor. You are walking through a safe life, through healthy relationships, but the defensive posture of a child who is waiting for the floor to drop out. You are protecting yourself from a version of reality that no longer exists. We often discuss independence as a mindset, a philosophy of self-reliance, but it is deeper than that. It is biological. It lives in the wiring of your body. For the person who uses independence as a defense mechanism, the nervous system is stuck in a chronic state of sympathetic arousal. This is the fight or flight mode. But instead of fighting a tiger, you are fighting the vulnerability of intimacy. When you are alone, behind a locked door, in control of your environment, your body feels a momentary drop in tension. This is why you crave solitude. It is not just because you are an introvert. It is because solitude is the only state in which your nervous system stops scanning for threats. When you are with others, even people you love, your radar is on. You are hypervigilant. You are constantly monitoring the emotional temperature of the room. Is everyone okay? Is someone angry? Do I need to fix something? Am I taking up too much space? This constant scanning is metabolically expensive. It drains you. It is why you can spend an hour at a social gathering and come home feeling as though you have run a marathon. To your body, intimacy registers as a loss of control, and loss of control registers as a threat to life. When someone tries to get too close, when someone tries to love you deeply, you might feel a sudden, inexplicable irritation. You might pick a fight. You might withdraw. This is your body hitting the panic button. It is the nervous system screaming, too close, unsafe, pull back. You have conflated safety with control. But control is not the same thing as peace. You have built a life where you are the captain, the navigator, and the crew. You have total control over the ship. But you are also drifting alone in the middle of a vast, silent ocean, and you are too afraid to radio for help. There is a profound ache at the center of hyperdependence. It is the ache of being admired, but never truly known. You are likely surrounded by people who love you, but take a moment to ask yourself, what do they love? Do they love youth, the messy, fearful, uncertain human beneath the surface? Or do they love your utility? Do they love your reliability? Do they love the fact that you require nothing from them? You have taught people how to treat you. By never asking for help, you have trained the people in your life to assume you don't need it. You have trained them to overlook you. And then, in a cruel twist of irony, you likely feel resentful when they do. You might find yourself looking at people who are needy, people who ask for favors, who cry openly, who depend heavily on their partners, and feeling a mix of judgment and envy. You judge them for their weakness, for their lack of composure. But beneath the judgment, there is a quiet, burning jealousy. You envy the ease with which they allow themselves to be carried. You envy the fact that they are not afraid to be a burden. This is the paradox. You desperately want to be taken care of, but you refuse to let anyone take care of you. You want someone to see your pain, but you hide it behind a smile. You want someone to force their way past your walls and save you, but you have built the walls so high that no one can climb them. You are waiting for a mind reader. You are waiting for someone who is observant enough to see through the eye, fine, and brave enough to challenge it. But that is an impossible standard to set for the people who love you. It is a test they are destined to fail. And every time they fail it, every time they believe your performance, you retreat further into your fortress, convinced once again that you are truly on your own. Eventually, the structure fails. It has to. The human soul was not designed to bear the weight of the world in isolation. Physics dictates that if you keep adding pressure to a sealed container, it will eventually burst. For the hyper-independent person, the breaking point rarely looks like a dramatic explosion. You are too controlled for that. Instead, it looks like a slow, quiet implosion. It looks like burnout. It begins with a deep spiritual fatigue, a tiredness that sleep cannot touch. You wake up in the morning and the sheer effort of being you, of being the strong one, the capable one, feels insurmountable. The things you used to take pride in, your productivity, your organization, your resilience, now feel like chains. You might experience a phenomenon known as compassion fatigue. You have spent so much of your life pouring into others that your own well has run dry. You start to feel numb. You look at the people you love and you don't feel affection. You feel obligation. You feel irritation. You feel a desperate, clawing need to escape, to drive away and never look back. This phase is terrifying because it feels like a death of identity. If you're not the strong one, who are you? If you're not the fixer, do you have any value? You have tied your worth so tightly to your utility that the idea of stopping feels like ceasing to exist. But this breaking point, painful as it is the most important moment of your life. It is the moment the armor finally becomes too heavy to wear. It is the moment life forces you to your knees, not to humiliate you, but to ground you, to bring you back to the earth, to remind you that you are human, limited, and fragile, and that it is okay to be all of those things. Healing from hyper-independence does not mean swinging to the other extreme of total dependency. It means moving toward interdependence. Interdependence is the healthy middle ground. It is the understanding that while you can survive alone, you cannot thrive alone. It is the recognition that humans are a social species, wired for co-regulation. We are like aspen trees individually standing tall, but beneath the soil. Our roots are inextricably tangled, holding each other up. The transition to this state is awkward. It requires you to learn a language you have spent a lifetime avoiding, the language of need. It begins with the smallest of risks. It starts with low-stakes vulnerability. It is allowing someone else to pick the restaurant for dinner, relinquishing the control of the plan. Key, it is saying, I've had a hard day, without immediately following it up with, but it's fine. I'll handle it. It is asking a friend to sit with you, not to fix the problem, but just to witness it. When you first try this, your body will rebel. You will feel a wave of shame. You will feel the urge to apologize, to withdraw the request, to smooth it over. You will think, I am being a burden. But I want you to reframe that thought. When you ask for help, you are not burdening someone. You are inviting them into your life. You are giving them a gift, the gift of being needed. Think of how good it feels when you help someone you love. It gives you purpose, connection, warmth. Why do you deny them that same feeling? Why do you hoard the role of the giver and never allow anyone else to play it? Learning to receive is an act of generosity. It allows the dynamic to balance. It turns a monologue into a dialogue. It turns a performance into a relationship. Imagine, for a moment, a future where you do not have to be the sentinel at the gate. Imagine waking up and realizing that the safety of your world does not depend solely on your vigilance. Imagine that you can lower your arms and the sky will not fall, that you can rest and the world will keep spinning. This is the destination of your healing. It is the softening. The rigid posture of the survivor, shoulders up, jaw tight, eyes scanning, begins to relax into the fluid movement of the living. You begin to understand that true strength is not the absence of need, but the courage to articulate it. You will realize that the wall you built served its purpose. Tia, it kept the child safe, it protected you when you had no other options. You can look at that wall with gratitude, can say, thank you for keeping me alive. But you are no longer that child. You are an adult with agency, with resources, and with choices. You have the power to discern who is safe and who is not. You do not need a wall anymore. You need a door. A door that you can open to let the warmth in and close when you need to rest. As you practice this terrifying, beautiful art of letting go, you will find that the exhaustion begins to lift. You will find that the love you receive feels different. It feels heavier, deeper, more real. Because for the first time, it is not landing on your armor. It is landing on you. You have spent a lifetime preparing for a disaster that you have to face alone. But the disaster is not coming. And even if the storm does come, you must finally realize you do not have to hold the umbrella by yourself. You never did.